Welcome back to another Warhammer the Old World Battle Report. Once again, we have the Dwarven Royal Clans facing off against another different Orcs and Goblins army. This time it's almost pure Night Goblins. My list is the same, but for the Night Goblins, we have a big unit of, I think, 55-ish Night Goblin Archers with the Poison Banner, and there's a level 4 Goblin Shaman on Elementalism, and then another brick of 30-something Night Goblins with the Battle Standard Bearer with the Big Red Raggedy Flag and War Banner in there, and then the other level 4 on Waaagh magic, and then 2 units of Squig herds, 3 units of Squig hoppers, 2 Warbosses on giant cave squigs, and then 2 mangler squigs, and then 3 bolt throwers. And then obviously 3 fanatics in each of the Night Goblin units. Some thoughts going into this game was basically I don't really outshoot this Goblin army with the big shooting block and the 3 bolt throwers that'll wear me down. So it felt like I had to basically throw the big combat brick forward, try and just survive, get in some big combats, and try and wear him down. Ideally, I want to get into one of the big units so I can kill one of the level 4 wizards, because that's a lot of points. Everything else is just sort of cheap chaff, really. So that was the plan. I basically just try and yeet the big brick forward and then shoot off the things that are going to come and try and flank it with either the anvil or the iron drakes. So, didn't manage to get first turn. And basically what happened is the Vanguard wheel, the Vanguard, the unit, big unit switched into marching column, wheeled forward a bit, marched to here. I was trying to sort of get on the other side of this building to get cover from the bolt throwers, but the anvil failed to cast the Rune of Haste and Urgency. So I was sort of just left stuck there in marching column. The anvil, however, did shoot into this unit of hoppers and left just 1 alive, killed 6 of them. And the stone thrower misfired or something, and the iron drakes were not in range, and I didn't want to move them off the hill, so they basically just stood where they were. I did get the reroll armor saves off onto the Longbeards. So Orcs and Goblins' turn. His random movers just sort of moved forward a bit. The 1 Squig hopper rolled high and just ran to within 1 inch to move block me, and then he put the Elemental Spirits template and the Foot of Gork right behind my unit. I was out of range for Itchy Nuisance, and I think he failed to get off Plague of Rust, or I might have been out of range for both of them. So that was a bit lucky. And then I think he just shot into the Longbeards with the front rank of the Goblin unit. The bolt throwers, I think, took some shots too and killed a few, but didn't do too much. They might have even missed. Nothing super impactful. So then Dwarf turn 2. These guys just turned 90 degrees, and so the characters and the command group get to move to the front under my understanding of the rules, and now they were in a fighting formation, no longer in marching column, and then they just moved forward a little bit. The anvil and what did the The anvil shot, I think, this Squig hopper and dropped him down to just one wound left. And the Iron Drakes shot up the Squig herd unit, but couldn't kill them off because they are skirmishers. The anvil might have gone there. I'm not sure. Anyways, I think one Iron Drake died from the elemental spirits moving, and the foot, I think, didn't do anything. So, decision making here. I think he was overly aggressive moving this unit up, because now I'm thinking I can use my Dispel Scrolls, my runes of whatever, unmaking, to stop him casting Travel Mystical Pathways. And I have a good chance of actually getting into this unit with my Longbeards, which is what I thought was one of my win conditions. So I was feeling good about that. And his shooting, has been not super effective. So okay, this Orcs and Goblins' turn. The Squigs move around a bit. This Squig just ran up here to move block the chariot, and we realized actually that he had forgotten to roll Impetuous on the Squig herd, so we went back and did it, and they actually failed their Impetuous, so charged into the front of my Longbeards, which I think his plan was to move the Squig herds and then move the Squig hoppers in a line here and move the Squig herds behind them and basically create a double line where I'm going to have to spend 2 turns killing these chaff units while this and he can move his unit out of the way. But after we went back and failed in the Impetuous, he then I think forgot to cast Travel Mystical Pathways and instead shot them all volley fire, so he had 35 shots at the Anvil of Doom, which is now gone. So I think he got 12 something 6s with the poison, because it is toughness 10, so basically he can't wound it with his regular shots, so he just needs the poison hits. I think he was rerolling 1s from the spell Evil Sun. So he got 10, and then I failed to make any of my armor saves. I would have been on so they have a 4+ armor, which was reduced to a 5 from Evil Sun, and a 5-up ward. And I have 5 wounds, so I needed to make 5 of my 5-up 5-ups, and I didn't, and so the Anvil was dead, which is rather unfortunate for me. This So the Squig herd combat went predictably. The Squigs hit quite hard. They have good AP. They hit well, and they're strength 5. So he killed some dwarves, but then I murdered them and overran into the big goblin unit. So in some ways that's good. I've gotten the charge in that I wanted. However, I am now sort of surrounded by Squigs, both Mangler and Hopper varieties. And the templates were continuing to bounce around my backlines. Actually going back, I think it was the grudge thrower that actually hit this guy and did 3 wounds to him. So left him on 1 wound. But now he was inside my minimum distance of 12 inches, so I could no longer shoot at him, which left that guy in trouble. So then start of my turn 4, I think that now is, the Fanatics pop out, so 3 from this unit, 3 from this unit. And he can't cast Itchy Nuisance on me because of I'm in combat. But I think he did. I think he tried to cast Peggle Arrest, and then I managed to dispel it. No, I don't know what happened there. I wouldn't have been able to dispel it. I think he maybe just failed to cast it. Because I did have magic resistance 2 on that unit. But anyways, it doesn't make a huge difference because the Fanatics are AP3 and I didn't get a save anyways. So all 6 Fanatics went through me. None of them rolled doubles. And so he killed, I think he got 15 wounds. And then because of the 5 aboard from the banner, I managed to save 5 of them. And so I lost 10 Longbeards to the Fanatics, which is unfortunate. Combat, though, still went pretty well. He refused a challenge with his wizard, sent him to the back. Just doesn't really make a big difference for him. We won this combat by a fair amount, but he rolled, I think he rolled a 7 for his leadership, so he just fell back in good order, which didn't really matter, and I followed up. So it does thankfully get me a bit of separation from the whatever they're called, the Fanatics. Oddly, so this the pony cart charged the 1 Squig hopper, killed it, then failed its leadership check and had to overran into a Fanatic. So it took 2 wounds, I think. Which was, I mean, line cart's not super important at this point in time anymore, but I would have preferred it didn't run into a Fanatic. So that's the end state of the Dwarf turn. The Iron Drakes turned and shot the Warboss on Cave Squig, Bigboss on Cave Squig that was coming up there, because it's a random mover, so I can't stand and shoot against it. So shot it off, and then I'm going to be able to stand and shoot the Squig herd when they charge me. He was, yeah. So this turn, what's going to happen? I'll go back one. The hoppers charged in, made it into the rear of or random moved, I guess. Random moved into the rear of the Longbeards. The Mangler Squig went into the flank of the Longbeards. Because of how those Squigs ended up, the Mangler Squig no longer had a place to go into the rear. He didn't roll high enough to come all the way over. So yeah, just the 7 Squig hoppers and the Mangler Squig on the side, and then they're fighting all the goblins in the front. And basically what happens is all of the Longbeards are killed. The Longbeards, okay, what happened? All of the Longbeards were killed. The characters, and I think that I had 1 Longbeard left, the banner fought back against the Squig hoppers, killed all them, but then the goblins got to fight, and they killed off the Runesmith and the last banner from the Longbeard unit. So just the king was left, and then he used Stubborn to fall back, and I think he potentially, he might have fallen back into a goblin again, I think, is what happened. So he took, took 2 wounds, so he had 3 wounds left. And yeah, that, I should have tried to keep the Runesmith alive, actually. I'm not sure, I think they'd no longer be in a unit, so he wouldn't have been able to put the ward save onto the king, but maybe he would have for the initial wounds. Anyways, I just put 2 wounds onto the Runesmith and took them off. But I think if I had put the wounds onto the Goblin King, I'm not entirely sure how the rules work out on this. He has a 2-up armor save. The Goblins don't have any armor. So I could have just potentially saved those wounds if I allocated them to the King rather than the Runesmith. Not sure if I could have allocated them to the King before the Standard Bearer, but anyways. Because it would have been nice to have another character alive for the next turn. Might have been weird working out how they fell back, but because... So King's there, Squigs are dead. These Squigs couldn't quite make it into the Bolt Thor, or the Grudge Thor, and the Squigs over here charged the Iron Drakes and were killed on the stand and shoot. and he follows up with the Mangler Squig into the king. He restrains with the goblins, follows up with the Mangler Squig, which, I mean, he now counts as charging, so it's not bad, but it does. The king has a good chance of finishing that fight. Just another picture of the beautiful Mangler Squigs, and then the king facing down the whole goblin army on his own. So that's what happens. The king kills off the Mangler Squig. I overran because I thought maybe I can get into this unit. Because it is... Yeah, so this is my turn. So I overran. So I was hoping to get into this unit rather than just being stuck out here where I'm going to get shot by everything. But he didn't roll high enough. The lion chariot turned around. The bunch of goblins, I don't know, hit each other, hit the wall. There's only one left. The Fanatics, I mean. The pillars of fire and the bolt throwers have been doing side shots into the flanks of the iron drakes, which means that they get to, they're killing like 4 or 5 at a time as the fully denying my armor save goes down the side. I think 6 times. So the king's left facing off. So he decides not to charge and just shoots at the king with the bolt throwers and the goblins. I think only he got one bolt thrower wound through, but I have I ignore multi-damage, so his damage to bolt thrower just does 1 wound. So I have 2 wounds left. These squigs charged the pony cart and killed it. This squig charged the grudge thrower, killed it, and then ran off the board, so he's coming back on the board next turn, so I can't shoot him with my iron drakes. He had Itchy Nuisance and Evil Sun on the king, or Bad Moon, so I'm -1 weapon skill and -2 toughness and initiative. I think that's the same thing. So going into my turn, the king, he had all 3, and he moved his wizard from this unit into this one. So he had his 2 level 4s and his battle standard bearer there. And so the king charged into those guys, and you're allowed to split attacks, so he was going to put 1 attack on each of them. It was my cunning plan to win the game, but he just challenged with his Goblin Champion, and I had to accept it. And so the king did 20 wounds to his Goblin Champion. He rolled, all 4 hit and wounded, and then he rolled 2 4s and 2 6s on damage. But this unit with Big Red Raggedy Flag and the War Banner has a static 7 or 8 combat resolution. I think it's static. Yeah. Anyways, I lost combat, gave ground. So it was a chance to win, but because of the slightly silly challenge rules in Old World, he did basically nothing. And so my Iron Drakes shot off. My Iron Drakes, which turned some more, shot off those Squig Hoppers. In the last turn, what is this? An Evil Sun and Itchy Nuisance going the king, and then he's just shot to death by the bolt throwers and shot to death by the bolt throwers. I think he dies, and then I think the Night Goblin shot at the Iron Drakes, and they failed their leadership test and panicked and ran. So then in my last turn, I did manage to rally the 5 Iron Drakes, which were my only units left on the board, so a big win to the Night Goblins. Another interesting game. I think going back yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there's a different plan that I could have done. I could have potentially corner castled a bit more and used the woods a bit more. But I think if my opponent wants to be boring, he just lets the bolt thrower shoot me for the whole game. Then and doesn't engage. So I think that's not a winning prospect. So basically, I think I had to push the the Death Star forward. I think the turn that the anvil, if it had have got off, if the anvil hadn't have died, the next turn it would have potentially, if I rolled above average, buffed the armor save on the Longbeards and shot off the Squig Hopper unit. And I think then there's a chance that they survive. There's a chance that they win that combat then. When the Squig Hoppers and the Magger Squig and they're fighting the Big Goblin unit. And if they do win that, then the game's in a different spot. But that would be... It was not unlikely that the poison block shoots off the anvil, and then it would have been unlikely that I managed to cast both my spells when he has a level 4 in dispel range. So, yeah, it's... I think honestly the Night Goblins and the Squigs are kind of a tough matchup for this army. I could be wrong, as it is a relatively new army for me, but it's it was a fun game. Lots died. We did kill our ancestral grudge was against this Squig Hopper or Squig boss, so we did score 75 victory points for killing him. But thanks for watching, and hopefully see you at the next game. Thanks. Bye.